Jamadagni Maharishi, one of the Saptarishis, and Renuka, his wife, lived with their 5 sons on the banks of the Narmada. Renuka Devi was a pativrata, a devoted wife who did daily puja of her husband. She and her sons went to the river every day to get water for the same. One day, Renuka went with her sons down to the river. The sparkling Narmada flowed with a gurgling sound, and all around was the green forest where crickets kept up a constant chatter and bird song filled the air. Taking in the sights and sounds, mother and sons relished the peace and quiet. Finally, Renuka sat down on the river bank and started to fashion something out of the clay there. Viswa, her son, asked, "Mother, what are you making with that clay?" Renuka answered, "Son, I am making a pot to take water for the puja of your father." Viswa, nonplussed, asked, "But mother, how will you collect water in a pot that is not baked?" Smiling a mysterious smile, Renuka said, "The gods are kind to me." Renuka had a boon that she would be able to collect water for her puja even in an unbaked pot because of the strength of her devotion. As she was fashioning the pot, a Gandharva passed by, and momentarily Renuka's concentration was broken by the handsome intruder. Quickly regaining her composure, she continued to fashion the pot. However, no matter what she did, the pot wouldn't come together. Distressed, she kept trying and did not see the time fly past. Her sons had left back to the ashram. When Jamadagni did not find his wife return for long, he knew with his Divya Drishti or powers of his seer that his wife's devotion to him had suffered a setback. Finally, Renuka returned to the ashram, crestfallen that she was not able to make the pot to bring the water. A furious Jamadagni confronted her. "You have been away for ages. Where's the water?" A sad and troubled Renuka could only look at him mutely. Jamadagni roared, "You have betrayed me. You have strayed from your Pativratya. You deserve to die." Hearing the commotion, their 4 sons rushed to find out what the issue was. Ramabhadra, the early name of Parashurama, was not there at the ashram at that moment. Jamadagni asked Vishwa, his son, "Come here, do as I say, cut your filthy mother's head off." Vishwa, covered in fear and silence, he didn't take a step forward. Jamadagni then turned to Vasu, another son, and roared, "Off with her head, you do it." Vasu shivered and shuddered but didn't respond. Jamadagni then turned to his 2 other sons, Brihudyanu and Bhrutvakandva, and made the same demand of them. They also covered in fear but didn't oblige him. Just then, Ramabhadra, the couple's youngest son, reached the ashram. Bristling with rage, Jamadagni turned to him and barked, "Ramabhadra, will you do my bidding or will you also disobey me like your other wretched brothers?" Ramabhadra, not knowing what was coming, immediately said, "Your wish is my command, Pitashri." "Then sever your mother's head from her body this minute and also kill your disobedient brothers." Ramabhadra's face turned ashen and he covered for a moment. Jamadagni watched him with his eyes in slits. In a moment, Ramabhadra regained his composure and said, "As you command, Pitashri." Turning to Renuka, whose face was streaming with tears, he quietly said, "Mother, I do not know why father has commanded me thus, but I have no choice, mother. I must respect his wishes." Utterly crushed, Renuka said, "Of course, son, come, finish the job." And she sat on the ground, stretching her neck for the cut. Ramabhadra lifted his parashu axe and swung it at her neck, and in one clean swoop, her head lay separated from her body. He went about killing his 4 brothers too, without once looking at his father. Ramabhadra couldn't bear the enormity of the action he had just committed and fell to the ground, throwing the parashu away from him. He cupped his face in his hand and let out a cry that shook the heavens. Jamadagni waited for Ramabhadra to regain his composure. When he was sure that Ramabhadra had gotten a hold over himself, Jamadagni went up to him and stroked his head lovingly. Ramabhadra didn't look up, tears continuing to stream down his face. Jamadagni, his rage vanquished, raised the boy and said to him, "Vats, you were the only one who obeyed me with no questions asked. Ask of me two boons and they will be given to you." Ramabhadra jerked his head up, not believing what he had heard. He fell at his father's feet and pleaded, "If that is so, Pitashri, then the first boon I ask is that my mother and my brothers be brought back to life." "As you wish, Vats," said Jamadagni, and slowly Renuka and his four other sons began to revive. "Pitashri, my second wish is that neither the stain of this path, sin, remain on me, making me face its karma phala, fruits of action, in future, nor that my mother and my brothers remember this ever happened." "You are a generous soul, Ramabhadra, and so it shall be." Ramabhadra couldn't believe his eyes and ears. Around them, Renuka and the four boys were slowly coming back to life as if they had been in slumber. Renuka revived completely, looked around her, and took in the sight of all her sons and her husband lying relaxed on the floor. She got up and said, "Oh, it's time to milk Kamadhenu. Let me go." And she hurried out. Who was Kamadhenu and what happened with her? We shall find out in the next episode.